MWAI Kibaki. Many know him for his role in transforming Kenyan economy when he served as the finance cabinet minister during KANU era. Our reporter Boniface Baraza is now joining us live from Lavington Estate in Kitale at the residence of former minister Dr. Noah Wekesa, who served in Kibaki's administration as forestry cabinet minister. Boniface Baraza, good evening. Take it away.
Good evening to Karen Karemi, and we're coming to you live from Lavington Estate in Trans Nzoia County, Kitale, Trans Nzoia County. And as the country continues to mourn the demise of the retired third president of the Republic of Kenya, MWAI Kibaki, we continue to piece this together and to dissect this matter just to get to understand how did Kenyans understood the former President MWAI Kibaki. And we're joined by the former long-serving minister in Kibaki's government, who served as the Minister for Education, Science and Technology, and later served as Minister for Forestry, and that is Dr. Noah Wekesa, just to get to understand who was MWAI Kibaki. Thank you, Waziri, for making time for TV47. From where you sit, having served with Kibaki, how will you eulogize the late president?
My president, we mourn together, and we're going to pray that the family should accept what God has done. All of us will go the same direction, but it's a sad time for the family and for Kenyans, particularly those ones who worked with MWAI Kibaki. I met him in 1958 when he was at Makerere, and that's the first time I met him, just before he went to the School of Economics in London. And later on, of course, I met him when I joined politics in 1988. He was a member of Parliament for Othaya. And I just remember him as the best speaker in Kenya's parliament. As far as I'm concerned, people like Mike Wamalwa, James Orengo, and others come below him. He was a very good speaker. And of course, I knew him during the time he was Minister for Finance. And of course, later on, we came to work together in formation of National Rainbow Coalition and PNU. And later on, of course, I was his minister. So that's the life of MWAI Kibaki as I see it. But as a president, he has left a mark in this country. He touched everybody. We know he was an economist, but he showed us what he could do for this country. I remember when he took over as president, the GDP was 2%, and within a very short time it was 6%.
How would you define the late President MWAI Kibaki? How would you define him in your own words?
MWAI Kibaki to me was a very good person, polite, friendly, but as a leader, he was a leader as far as Kenyans were concerned, but to himself he was just Kibaki. Kibaki was selfless. He worked for this country. He worked for his people, his constituency when he was a member of parliament. But as a president, he worked for Kenyans. He did not work for himself. Kibaki never ignored advice from his friends, from his ministers. He was a good listener. and will miss his leadership. A lot of us who have been in public life, most of the time we work for ourselves, but Kibaki was working for Kenyans. You remember the free education, he brought it to this country, and he got congratulations from Kenyans and also from outsiders. I remember people outside Kenya sending messages to him saying that to create an environment where Kenyans don't have to pay for school fees was commendable in Africa. So apart from mending the economy, he tried also to deal with corruption. Corruption was just getting the roots, deep into the fabric of Kenyans. Kenyans will remember that he did actually sack his best schoolmate, his best cabinet minister, who was his friend and schoolmate, the late Miraria. Even George Saitoti was, he had to step aside when there were issues in the ministry. So he really tried to deal with corruption. But most importantly, it is the what he did to this country. The road network, as we know it today, was started by him. Of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta has added a lot of mileage. I don't remember how many, but it is common knowledge that the present government has done a lot of work in road infrastructure, but he's the one who started it. The Kenyans will remember the Thika Highway and many other roads, even the Mombasa Road and other roads.
As you touch on his legacy and whatever that he was able to do during his tenure, there's one thing that probably Kenyans do not understand. Who was Kibaki during your cabinet meetings? And probably this one thing that it will never go unnoticed during your cabinet meeting. What is it?
During the cabinet meeting, it was very, very well organized. We always started on time. He was a very good listener, and he wanted to listen to his ministers. He did not run the government as the president of Kenya. He ran the country as a country that had a cabinet. Each one of us had to play their part. We never could call him to say, we have a big problem here, what do we do? He trusted that as ministers we had the responsibility to discharge our functions to the satisfaction of Kenyans. He never gave orders, and I just remember small things like spending time with him. He made sure that he had his own table, the president table. The rest of us sat in the dining room, but on his table, he made sure.
Oh, wow. We do apologize for that technical hitch.